if INEOS are serious about bringing in their own man, I think it's right that we are prepared with a long list of candidates. And maybe even some of these candidates, we assess them and move them on. But I think it's important that we have a list and a live short list of potential candidates to succeed Ten Hag, whether or not he stays. This isn't me advocating for him going. I think it would just be prudent management to have a live working list of 5 or 6 names that you're thinking about should there be any instant decision. Like the manager can wake up one morning and go, don't like it anymore. The intensity of managing United is too much. I'm out of here. That could happen, right? So I think it would be the prudent thing to do that you have a live list that you review every couple of months, that you have interviewed, that you have spoken to people who have played under him, people that like him, people that don't like him, or her, I guess that's the thing, and come up with what would be the ideal candidate for Manchester United manager. And today I'm going to look at Kieran Mckenna, former United coach under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, also under Jose Mourinho, and had one of the most recently successful under-18 sides at the club as well. Now, Mckenna currently manages Ipswich Town in the Championship, where his hard work has driven them to an incredible level of overperformance. They are currently first in the Championship, 1 point ahead of Leeds and 2 points ahead of Leicester. And just to outline how much of an anomaly this is with this Ipswich side, only 3 other clubs have ever achieved back-to-back promotions from League One into the Premier League, and that was Watford from 97 to 99, Southampton from 2010 to 2012, and Norwich from 2009 to 2011. And Mckenna's Ipswich, from the get-go, he started to impress there. And actually, tactically, I was going to say tactically you would recognise it at United, but you actually wouldn't, because they actually do their jobs all over the pitch. But the formation is the same. It's a 4-2-3-1, and they are very confident in their best 11. And the 4-2-3-1 is a consistent starter in every game that they play. Now, he can often change their setup mid-game, and he does have the confidence to change from plan A to B to C, D, and even E if the game requires it. The adaptability of him is not necessarily to the detriment of the team either. I think it's a clear philosophy in the way that they play, but occasionally he will just change the formation to overload or underload a certain area of the pitch. If the game requires a mid-block, compactness, a whole new formation, sometimes even a 4-4-2, Mckenna is prepared to make that change. The building out process is reflective of a Premier League side. They build up in a 2-4 or a 4-2 structure. Centre halves split out wide, and they allow the fullbacks to drift around a little bit higher to create that midfield 4. The midfield then pivot and acts as the main outlet to progress the ball forward and get over the halfway line. Playing out so high does give Ipswich numerical advantages all over the key areas of play. And actually, even Ipswich's goalkeeper is tasked with stepping out much higher to assist with this as well, just giving them an extra +1 passing option to maintain possession. Now, it's risky if possession is lost, as is all sort of attempts at playing out, but it's that sort of risk that is commendable, required of a manager that dares for glory, especially if he was to be a candidate to be a Manchester United manager. Now, Mckenna seems to take a lot of inspiration from Guardiola's build-up, with play switching from inside to outside at quicker pace. It's all about having confidence on the ball and adapting to those pressures that they will face. Winning the ball and quickly switching the play is a big staple of his. They overload right, then they switch to the left. Wide players invert, both the winger and the fullback as well at times. And so many of Ipswich's goals come from wide players in danger positions, cutting inside once they get on the ball. The unpredictability of an impending shot or cross is what grants Ipswich so many of their best chances. And one of the most important elements of how Ipswich set up is how they press. They are a press team. And players are also extremely well equipped and well drilled on their roles, whether they're pressing 2-1 or 1-1. So could Mckenna work at United? Well, Manchester United need a manager that's going to give players specific, coachable instructions, but be adaptable enough to make amendments if things are not going to plan. And Mckenna does that, and he's done it over the course of an insanely competitive championship season. With a team that has only just been promoted from League One, I don't think people are fully on board with how genuinely incredible it is. Young players like Mainu or Garnacho would absolutely benefit from McKenna's Manchester United. The reliance on team pressing with the midfield pivots that advance the ball forward would absolutely suit Mainu to a T, while the reliance on wide men to invert or to stay wide and get into space would actually make Garnacho look even better. Similarly, the combination of Luke Shaw and Dalot would see two fullbacks who are quality with long passing and getting on the ball being unlocked for their crossing and switches to the opposite flank. And you can start to see that blueprint begin to design itself with the Manchester United squad. We need players to be above par physically because McKenna does have a massive insistence on very aggressive pressing. And if I was going to be critical, it can sometimes be a little over aggressive and it does lead to incessant abuse on the counter. So fitness is vital to McKenna's style of play. And talking about his squad being physically fit, McKenna said this: it's something that's very important to me. With that style of play, this is what we want. I want us to play with real intensity and be running all the time. That's one of the key rules here. When the ball is in play, we've got nobody walking and everybody active on the pitch in and out of possession. We want to run with intensity, push high up the pitch, show penetration when we get the ball, and when we win it, we want to attack first and do those things. You have to run hard. There is no hiding place here. I think that's tailor-made for some of the players in the United squad. You don't play at Manchester United unless you're physically up to scratch, or you shouldn't play at Manchester United unless you're physically up to scratch. What McKenna is doing at Ipswich is nothing short of ridiculous. And McKenna joined them in League One. Now, I've just been having a look at some of my tweets from when he first joined. The manager that he took over had a 29% win rate. And at the time of whenever it was that I tweeted someone, because someone, if you remember back in the day, everyone was saying how Ole was shit, but also Carrick and McKenna was shit. He nearly doubled the win rate at Ipswich with the same team, taking them from 29% to 56% win rate. That's ridiculous. Gets them promoted, gets them into the Championship, one of the most competitive leagues in world football, with a very, very modest wage budget, which is the number one correlation for how a team is supposed to do in a given league, and has got them top of the pops. The football is class. McKenna will end up at a massive club, mark my words. Would he come back to United as an assistant with the view of him taking over one day? I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, though, because I think this is a man that actually was misunderstood during his time here, and he's achieving things, outperforming where he should, and that has to be admired. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.